Hey brother, Charlie McKeever here from Happy Man Coaching. I'm out here walking the dog this morning and I was thinking about the phrase, I won't live that way. Now, this is a topic that came up last night on our weekly Renewed Masculine Man group call. And it was in relation to this idea that at some point we get to set a healthy boundary for ourselves. We get to say how it is or what we want to experience, how we want to live our life. We don't get to dictate the behavior and thoughts and feelings of another person, but we do get to define what we will experience. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Not define what we'll experience, to define what we will accept, what we won't accept, what our limitations are, what we find palatable, what we don't find palatable. And this is something we get to define for ourselves. It's part of taking ownership for ourselves. And it's part of knowing who we are, what we value, and what we want in a relationship. Now, we don't get to demand that other person behaves a certain way, that they change, but we do get to be in control of ourselves, and we do get to declare that how we will and we will not live. Now, a lot of times what we see is this shows up when a partner has detached completely, pulled away, turned away, is no longer interacting in the relationship, is stonewalling, maybe has withdrawn intimacy, is not interested in interacting in any way. Now, this is a fine line to walk because it's real easy to sort of throw out your declaration and wait for the other person to respond and then decide, okay, I'm out of here, right? Take your ball and go home. That's not always healthy because we have to realize that we have contributed to the situation that we find ourselves in. If we find ourselves in a relationship where the other person is stonewalling, where the other person won't communicate, where they have pulled away, where they don't want to interact, then before we just sort of throw that other person under the bus, we have to recognize that we've been there the whole time too, and that we've participated in some way. And for me, in my relationship, what this looked like was I had shut down all of the emotional safety for my wife. And that had resulted in basically her not wanting to communicate with me, her not feeling safe to communicate with me. And so that meant that she'd stopped talking. She'd only want to give me one-word answers to questions. And so that really looked like a withdrawal of love, a withdrawal from the relationship. But what she was actually doing in that case was actually doing something for herself, not doing something to me. And what I needed to understand in our situation was that there were some things that I didn't know. There were some things that I was doing that was actually contributing to her pulling away and shutting down and stonewalling and not wanting to interact. And so I had to do some self-work. I had to understand some things that I didn't know, and then at that point get to the point where I could show up the way that I wanted to show up in my life and relationship, and then give her a chance to respond to that. And then ultimately, we do get to say whether or not we want to, experience something, whether we'll live this way or not. And then that other person does get to decide for themselves whether or not how they want to respond to that. So if that person says, okay, well then, I guess we can't be together, or this is I'm not going to change. This is the way I'm going to be. And you say, okay, well, I'm not going to live that way. Then you at least get to make a decision for yourself, a choice for yourself, and take ownership for yourself. So that at that point, you can decide what to do next. And sometimes that's leaving the relationship. Sometimes that's leaving a marriage. Sometimes that is, ending a long-term thing. So, this idea of I won't live that way, right? It's kind of a mantra. It's sort of something that we can look to as a comparison, as a guide. Kind of like the qualifying word healthy, right? I want to be in a healthy relationship with someone who wants to be in a healthy relationship with me. Now we have to go and look deeper and understand what healthy means, but don't we all want to be in a healthy relationship? It's just like when we use the word fair. You know, when you ask somebody, is that fair? It really gets them to think about whether or not something is fair or not. And we all have a sense of right and wrong, a true north, and sometimes that can be a little distorted, a little skewed. But deep down in our core, we know what that is, and we start to, you know, when we're asked that question, is this fair? We do the calculation, right? We do the evaluation. So, healthy, fair. I won't live this way. These are all things that we can use as guides for ourselves moving forward. So if you're in this place, brother, where your wife is stonewalling, maybe she has shut down, she's pulled away, the intimacy's not there, maybe you're feeling like you're in a sexless marriage, maybe there's been talk about separation or divorce, message me, contact me, happymancoaching.com, click on that contact button. Fill out the form, let's set up a call, let's talk to each other, let's talk about what's going on. It may be the first time that you're able to vent your frustrations and your resentments and just be able to talk to somebody without having to filter or hold back what's going on inside. All right, brother, I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye. Thanks for being here.